So, how do I know when this is working? All right. Guys, if you can see me, hear me, anything, comment in that box for me, would you? So I know what's going on. And yeah, I know. You can see right up my fucking nose. Sorry, but you can see right up my fucking nose. I should really start trimming those nose hairs. Okay. I can't hear nothing. Hopefully the sound's coming through. Okay, cool. Joe, thanks, buddy. Thanks a lot. All right, so if anybody has any boot questions, please just send them out there right now. More than happy to put it in the description box, and I will get to you. I will answer those questions the best I can. I actually have a problem with the whole YouTube thing right now. My last two videos they did not allow me to monetize them. And I know this is something that's going on in the gaming community, that a lot of you guys out there who game are dealing with the same thing. And they are saying that my videos were deemed offensive of sorts. And I'm not aware of talking about boots in a favorable manner being offensive. So, yeah. So I do see a question up there. Which boots are best for auto mechanics? Well, which boots do I think are best for the auto mechanics? Are you an independent auto mechanic? Are you working at one of the big dealerships? That's the real question. If you're an independent guy, so you're, you know, if I know anything about independent mechanic shops here in Chicago, is that the floors really suck ass, and sometimes they're filled with kitty litter and oil and all that other stuff. So you probably don't want anything that's going to track a lot of that stuff around. I would say if it's a heated shop and it's all about oil resistance, slip resistance, whew, man, anything from Timberland, any of the new Condor boots, those Condor work boots, those are awesome. I mean, you guys know, I am a very big fan of the 606. Joe, this is my first live show since last Thanksgiving. So, like I was saying, I'm a really big fan for everybody, especially auto mechanics and guys who are running around. Red Wing 606, 2406, 2418, anything with that Super Sole, because it works really well when you're around fluids and fuels and stuff like that. It plays nice with diesel. It plays nice with regular motor oil and other things that usually make soles blow up and become like big balloons. So, yeah. So back to the original thing. So YouTube's not letting me monetize my last two videos. So I guess I would really like it if all my subscribers could share my last two videos so I can get 1,000 views on those. And if I can get 1,000 views on those, then YouTube will actually answer me why they're not letting me monetize those last two videos to get the ads on there. I just can't figure it out. I mean, when they say it's offensive, I don't understand offensive. John Charles Carpenter, you sent me an email last night. Yeah, you know what? I can answer that. I don't know where my phone is. Give me a second. I'm going to leave the camera. I'm not leaving. I got to find my phone. So this is probably going to be really boring, you watching me read an email, and I apologize for that. But go ahead. If you guys want to put any more questions up in there, feel free, and I will get to them. Let's see, John Carpenter. John, this is a very long email, buddy. Size 13, 1. Like I said, this is going to be really boring, you guys watching me. Wow. John, can I actually respond to this email in written form? Because I have to actually read this, and this is 6 paragraphs long, and I don't want to, make everybody else feel. But I will get to this. I'll answer this tomorrow morning. Wow. Dude, nice photographs. Really, John, those are really nice photographs of your boots. I hope, can I share your photos on Instagram? That'd be great. I think a lot of guys would like to see these. These are really well done. You shot those with a cell phone, but man, your lighting is awesome. Showing off the texture is real nice. Okay, I will get to this, okay? Yeah, John, cool. Thank you. I will answer that written to you. Okay, thanks, buddy. All right, so if it seems like I'm not looking at the camera's right here, my screen's up there, so it's going to seem like I'm back and forth, like I'm not paying attention, but right there, right there. Okay, so what's a good, affordable, lightweight steel-toe boot and is easy to find? Well, that's a really good question. Lightweight, affordable, easy to find. I guess it all depends on the region that you live in and what's accessible to you. I mean, if we want to count the internet, there is boots all over the internet, right? So you can find all kinds of stuff. Geez, there's so many. I always go back to Timberland Pro's Titan. I mean, it runs in the 139, 154 mark. Wherever you're at, whatever on sale, it's lightweight. It's a dual density sole. It's waterproofed. It's flexible. You get 9 months out of it, maybe a year, maybe a little bit more than that before the sole cracks, but it's lightweight and it's comfortable. So, okay, so you're in Minnesota. You're in Red Wing country. And you're asking about affordable work boots. I mean, probably the best thing I could say is go to the Red Wing outlet and get some of those wonderful factory defects for $50 that I always see guys sending me pictures of. I see some great stuff that comes out of there. Could I do a live review of Allen Edmonds First, or could I do a review of Allen Edmonds First Avenue? Huh. What kind of hiking boot under $150? That's a tough question too. All right, so if you're in Minnesota, is it Fleet and Farm, Farm and Fleet, whichever ones you guys got out there? I don't know. It's different between states. Every state I go to is always different. Or it's Rural King, Farm and Fleet. They usually have some house brands that are actually halfway decent. Listen, if you're going to buy a cheap safety shoe, you're going to try them on. You want them to be flexible. You do not want anything that's going to... Okay. Farm and Fleet, Mills Farm and Fleet. Okay, so Farm and Fleet might actually have an American-made wedge, but that's not going to be steel toe. Oh, that's right. Jeez. Timberland Pit Boss. Okay, it's not the lightest weight boot out there, but it is damn durable, and guys get so much wear out of that thing. And I see guys wearing that in different types of work all the time, and they're getting so much wear out of it. It is awesome. Let's go back to what's the best hiking boot for under $150? Jeez. Okay, so anything from Merrell that you can get in the clearance rack at any sporting goods store is awesome. Good hiking boot and work boot, like putting these two things together, like you're going to use them at the same time. Oh boy. I don't know. I'd say Keen. I mean, the Keen Pittsburgh, you can pick that one up. That's for Adrian. You can pick the Keen Pittsburgh up for, man, sometimes it's really inexpensive. Best hiking boot, a Logger. Yeah, I kind of agree with the best hiking boot being a Logger. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the woods wearing my Loggers, so, I mean, they are great boots. Even though I've grown really fond of everything from Danner. So I'm not advertising Starbucks. I'm just trying to take a sip of this. And it's freaking hot. And talk at the same time. Oh, the First Avenue boot by Alan Edmonds. You know, I actually have two brand new Alan Edmonds here. They just sent me these the other day for a photo shoot. So here's something new. It's not laced up or anything, but there's something new from Alan Edmonds. Nice cap toe. It's really soft leather. This is the CN, and this is the color Acorn. So that's something new from Alan Edmonds. Hi, what is your boot today? Today I wore a Thorogood most of the day. I wore a Thorogood wedge sole for most of the day. It was really just one of those days. It stormed all day here in Chicago. My favorite, okay, I like this one. What's my favorite Red Wing sole for resoling? Anything from Vibram. Vibram. I love the Red Wing soles, but over the years, I've had personal great luck with everything that's from Vibram, and I've seen other guys get amazing results from having their boots resoled with anything from Vibram, whether it's a lug sole, a wedge sole, or even using Vibram rubber on pseudo dress type styles. So yeah, see, I think it's a great idea. I think the Vibram mini lug is a great idea. It's a good question. How does the suede hold up into leather from the Alan Edmonds? The suede's phenomenal. I mean, this suede is not like your Wilson's leather jacket suede. This stuff is just outstanding, just the thickness and the condition of it. So it's going to hold up. Like, you're not going to go fall trees with it, and you're not going to go tie rebar with it. You know, you're not going to tie stuff off with it. But yeah, it's phenomenal stuff. Yeah. I run delivery route where I run up and down a ramp all day. Could you recommend a good boot that will hold up in the job that I have a big problem with the soles being destroyed? Okay, so if you're running, so Justin Taylor said he's running up and down a ramp all day and he's destroying the soles. Is it concrete ramp, or are you running up and down one of those metal pull-out delivery ramps? I guess that's kind of what I need to know. I mean, if it's metal delivery ramp, I can understand. You're adding little razor blades to that sole all day long, so you're going to destroy it no matter what you put under your foot, even if it's a logger boot. That metal stuff is just horrible. Do I have an opinion on the Frye Taylor lace-up? Well, my opinion on anything from Frye is buy it. I have never, I mean, there might be a few character flaws that happen with certain boots when you're looking at 100 boots and you can start to see character flaws, but everything I've ever seen from Frye, the hundreds of pairs, man, just buy them. Fryes are awesome. They're a little, I mean, depending on, you got to know your size and everything else, but everything from Frye is just beautiful. Your thoughts on the ring? Natural Seal? NutriSeal. I have no thoughts on the NutriSeal because I haven't used it. A lot of those products that they've brought out in the last... So all the shoe companies, since the Heritage Movement has gained all this momentum, and I realize that I'm looking at that Heritage Movement from a very narrow perspective because my life revolves around footwear and boots and stuff. But since that has happened, there has been so many people that have come out with some sort of product to put on your boots that says that they're the best product in the world. And basically, if they offer you the chemistry and you can see what it's made out of, then you can really make a judgment call. And you're going to get guys who are always telling you, don't put mink oil on your boots. It just destroys the stitches. It destroys this. It does this and does that. And it might. If you want your boots to last you 20 years, mink oil might destroy them, but so would 20 years of wear. And I don't think you can blame the mink oil for that, no matter what anybody says. How do you feel about adding half soles? Are these half soles from... Okay, okay, I'm sorry. I got to go back to Justin Taylor because he answered my question up there. Okay, so Justin said that he's walking around on the ramps tearing up his shoes. He's walking up and down on a metal ramp all day. Dude, metal ramps kill boots. Metal ramps and fresh ladders. Guys who buy brand new ladders and start working on them will destroy their boots in 3 months. And I imagine you're in the exact same category. So there's really nothing that's going to hold up. I mean, a very hard sole, like something you're going to find on like the Caterpillar Second Shift, the Timberland. Come on, I just mentioned it 5 minutes ago, and now it's completely gone. The Pit Boss. Those two boots have a really hard compound urethane rubber sole. It's a rubber sole. And those two boots are really going to hold up to your ramps. Now, what you're going to lose by having a hard sole boot that's going to last you a long time, you're going to lose traction. And that traction happens in between your metal grates when you got the holes cut in. And so if you have a Titan, thanks dude, if you have a metal, if you have those metal grates and you have a hard sole, it's kind of gets slippery in the middle, especially if they're wet. Where if you got a softer sole, which is going to get destroyed a lot sooner, it's going to hold up a lot better. So, Thorogood boots versus Red Wing boots. Wow, so that's 400 styles on one side and 275 on the other. That's a very unfair fight. If this was Game of Thrones, that would be like the Lannisters taking on the Stormborns or whatever they were, the salt people from the island. It just wouldn't work. I could find more comfortable ESD shoes for work. The best I found was Carolina ESD Oxford Steel Toe. I work in a sensitive electronic equipment. Well, a lot of boots are ESD. A lot of shoes are ESD. So I guess finding the best ones, like I would imagine you're not wearing a big heavy leather boot. If you're working around sensitive electrical equipment, you're wearing something that's a little bit more pliable and flexible. So there's a lot of stuff on the market, and most stuff is passing the ESD standards, and a lot of companies like Reebok, they don't always mark them. And shoes that are sold as being ESD are usually urethane soles, aluminum toes, comp toes, and just soft and flexible. Okay, so did I miss a question? I feel like I missed. Oh, have you ever used Obenauf's heavy duty LP on any boots? I've never in my life used anything from Obenauf's. Mainly, I've never purchased any for myself because I've unfortunately have always had mink oil around and lots of it and other brands of stuff, so I have not used it myself. I should pick some up. I actually have a couple pairs of boots that I need to clean up, and I think an Obenauf's video would be a good thing. I think even though I'm going to get the same response I got from my other videos, like everybody says I'm just polishing a turd, but still I think it would be a good thing just to see the different characteristics between Obenauf's and some other sort of product on the exact same pair of boots that are worn out the same size. 6-inch wedge sole Thorogood versus a Red Wing. I'm going to go with Thorogood, man. Lynn Jordan, I'm always going to go with Thorogood over Red Wing. It's nothing against Red Wing. It just has to be, I know the Thorogoods inside and out. I mean, the Red Wings, 20 years ago, it was the nice boot, but yeah, I agree. They do look good when they're done. How are you doing a live chat with the Cubs playing now in Game 1? how am I doing a live chat? I'm doing it. I actually have a reason why I'm doing this live chat, because my videos were not, my last 2 videos, the monetization was taken away, and unless I get 1,000 views on them, I can't get YouTube to talk to me on why they deemed my videos offensive. That's why I'm doing a live chat, because that is actually more important to me than watching baseball. As much as I love baseball and softball, my own microcosm is more important than the microcosm of the players. And everybody I know is watching the game, so I'm not really missing anything, because I can go into the next room and there's people watching the game, so it's not a big deal. And I'm sure at some point somebody's going to come running in here and telling me, oh, you guys see what happened? Yeah, vegans get pissed off about leather all the time, don't they? What are you going to do? I mean, they chose life decisions. We didn't choose those life decisions for them. As much as I love animals, you know, the tasty ones and the ones that, it's just that everybody chooses what they want in life, right? Explain why it's not a good value. Joe, there is actually the Brahma video that I have out there from, I don't know, not last, yeah, this was last year sometime. It's pretty funny. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Will. Yeah, that was my wife's doing. That was not my idea. That was my wife, who bought me those boots. She's always there trying to make me, do stupid stuff like that. Best way to clean and condition distressed leather Iron Rangers. Robert, that's a really good question. The best way to clean your distressed Iron Rangers. I'd imagine probably the one thing you want to do is clean your welts, clean your stitches, but leave the leather pretty distressed. Thanks, dude. Thanks, Smokey. Yeah, don't. If you're buying Iron Rangers, I mean the thing about that boot is, if you buy them undistressed and they're brand new out of the box and they have that beautiful, crisp, hard leather, I mean, when you grab an Iron Ranger for the first time and you try to twist it, there's this thing where you kind of twist your boots just to kind of feel that sole. The first time you twist those Iron Rangers and it goes, and you're like, oh, that leather moves and all that stuff moves. Yeah. So distressed. If you're going to clean up a distressed boot, just clean your welts, clean your stitches, open up your tongue, brush everything out of that tongue, and some saddle soap. I mean, just if you want to clean off, if you got hot sauce on it, or you're having a burrito and shit just shits all over it, clean that stuff off there with saddle soap. But don't really start adding anything to your leather distressed boots until you're no longer happy with the way the distressing looks. So the way they're looking, because man, the Iron Ranger, the more you wear it, the better it gets, the better it looks. I feel like, again, I missed a question. There's a lot of lag time here, so I'm not seeing. I don't use saddle soap on my boots, just conditioner. Am I missing out by not using saddle soap? Okay, so I'm gonna go to Carlos's Muniz question there, but William, you're asking about the saddle soap. So saddle soap is basically, it's a cleaner. It's soap that doesn't destroy your boots. Like I guess it's not alkaline based. My chemistry is kind of bad right now because I'm not really looking at stuff thinking about it like that. But I think it's alkaloids that exist in soaps, and that's what breaks up the water so they work. Saddle soap doesn't have any of that, so it kind of just smooths out that dirt and lifts it out of the nap and kind of keeps the leather nice and soft. Are you missing anything? I don't think you're missing anything. I mean, I would use saddle soap on anything that was veggie tan that I had. It's a color of leather. It's my favorite color of anything made out of leather is veggie tan. So, so you try some saddle soap. Try some saddle soap on a small part. Like, say your jeans are staining the tops of your Iron Rangers. Try the saddle soap on top of there and see if you like the way it cleans them up. If not, don't worry about it. Just keep going with your leather conditioner. Iron Rangers are tough boots. Beat them up. Get them looking like your boots. Okay, so Carl asked me, what do I think about Doc Martens? I saw your video about one model, but what about the others? Okay, so like I said in the video, I grew up with Doc Martens. I grew up wearing the monkey boot, bought it out of the back of Thrasher magazine. Which brings me, I see all these guys running around with Thrasher magazine t-shirts and sweatshirts, all these people. Doesn't look like they ever touched a board in their lives. Like, I guess it's just a trendy thing. So, what do I think about Doc Martens today? Well, everything I see from Doc Martens in any of the stores that carry them that I go to, they're all crap. Nobody I know here in the city, outside of going to the actual Doc Martens store, which I haven't done because I don't go into the area of the city where that's at very often, I haven't seen any of the UK made ones. So I have no idea on the quality. Everybody tells me they're such high quality. Now, remember, my idea of what a high quality boot is going to be a lot different from somebody who's only looking at Doc Martens all day, because I look at so many other boots. I mean, I got an Allen Edmonds handmade in Wisconsin boot here in my hand. The quality in this is outstanding. Doc Martens, I don't think, comes even close to the quality, the picking of the leather, the way they size things out. I don't think Doc Martens does that. But that's not to say that if you're buying a pair of Doc Martens for your first pair of boots that you shouldn't do it. I mean, you need to start somewhere. I just don't think that they're very good boots for what they are. Now, I understand Doc Marten utility to work stuff. I see a lot of that stuff. I see a lot of my European friends wear that stuff. And I think that's just a connection to home more so than the quality of the boot. I don't know. Okay, I'm missing some questions here. I hope that answers. I hope you, Carlos, I hope that helps. I just want to see a UK made one. So let's get to some other. Joe hates Doc Martens. I'm in good company. As far as safety toe boots, which one is the best in your opinion? I love my non-metallic comp toes on my old Red Wings. Boy. Favorite safety toe boot? That's a tough question. If you guys didn't watch my Kodiak review that I did today on that Kodiak, I wore that thing around for a few days. That boot is outstanding. The only problem is there's no widths in it, but there's a lot of room in there. It's really damn cool. Do you have any heritage style boots in the pipeline for videos? So let me go back to this. So favorite non-metallic composition toe boot. My favorite comp toe boot that's on the market, that's accessible to everybody, available to everybody, is the Boondock by Timberland. It is the most versatile boot and is the best boot for a guy who's come from wearing gym shoes and then puts that thing on. Though the weight of the Boondock to a pair of sneakers is extremely different. But the fact that these two boots are so, the gym shoe to the boot, the comfort level is like apples for somebody who's not a boot wearer. So I think that's my favorite one. Okay, let's see. Best insoles for standing all day on the job. Well, the best insoles for standing all day on the job are really based off of what the condition of your feet are in. Are Red Wing orthotics worth the money? I would say some of the Red Wing stuff is worth the money. Some of those orthotics they make are outstanding. Not Fleet Feet. Fleet Feet's the store here in Chicago that sells Super Feets. Super Feets are also really good insoles for standing, running, and moving and whatnot, but you have to understand the problems with your feet before you start moving into high-end, over-the-counter type orthotics. When I say understanding the problems with your feet, there's certain stores you walk into to buy things and you ask the salespeople, hey, this part of my foot hurts, and they say, okay, here's something, and they give you like a $4 gel pad, and they say, this is going to help, this is going to make you feel better. They obviously have no idea about foot pain or anything like that. So when it comes to buying orthotics, you really, if you're not going to go to your podiatrist to have them made, if you're going to go to the store and buy orthotics, you want to go to a store that specializes in understanding feet. Now, the Red Wing stores, if they're independently owned, and the guy who owns the shop has got some years under his belt, he's got to have some knowledge about the insoles. And hopefully, he's just not pushing you to whichever one he makes the best markup on. Yeah, exactly. So here you go. So William points it out. Some of the Red Wing stores actually have a machine that will measure your foot and point out your high points, your low points. Tells you what your arch is like, how much pressure. I don't know, does it still have the pressuring on the heel? So yeah, if you're going to buy orthotics, if you're going to jump the price, so you can buy Timberland orthotics for $39. You can buy some soft soles for $39, I think. Also, that will support your arch and your heel and help with planters. But if you got bigger problems than that, and you can't afford to go to a podiatrist at $200 a crack or $500 a crack or $1,000 once they make you the insoles, definitely go to someplace that sells high-end running shoes, an actual running store, and pick the brains of the people there. People who run are passionate about their feet because their feet allow them to do their hobby, their task. Just like we love our work boots and we love our feet. At the real end of the day, the boots aren't as important as our tools are in order to help us make a living. So we're more passionate about our tools, that our levels, our stabilities, and that our squares are, square, and we got great drills and stuff like that. Runners love their feet, so they're really good to go where runners really spend their money. Lynn is absolutely correct. Lynn says that REI is good for insoles, and they are good for insoles. Just the people that work at REI sometimes are a little bit too pushy on making sure that you buy into their private club. And I don't really care to be part of private clubs like that. Not saying I'm not, but I don't like the pushiness when I'm just trying to try on some boots or check out some of their new hiking boots. And they're pushing me into joining their club, even though I told the guy how many times I was part of it. Which brand do you think is the best for making waterproof boots? You can tell some of my favorite models. So thanks. Never join anything, Carlos. That is a good question. Okay, so when it comes to waterproof boots, if you would have asked me this question 15 years ago, I would have said anything with Gore-Tex. Anything else that didn't have Gore-Tex at that time, even though Sympatec was on the market and a few other membranes were on the market, I would have said Gore-Tex only. But in today's market, Gore-Tex lost the patent to certain parts of it. They still have another side of it. If it was a list, Gore-Tex is still going to be at the top. Any brand that adds Gore-Tex into the boot is going to be a waterproof boot. I'm not saying that it's going to keep you warm or do anything else. It's just going to keep you dry. And dry in a waterproof boot. Now, you asked me to mention brands, and I'll mention the brands. But when it comes to a waterproof boot, and you take your foot out and your foot's wet and you've been in rain all day, it's not necessarily the water, it's sweat. And that's kind of a hard concept for some people to grasp, because at a certain point it just seems like your foot's wet from the water, but it's really from you sweating inside your boot, as if you didn't have a Gore-Tex boot on, it's wet. So some of the other brands. So Danner uses Gore-Tex in all their top-of-the-line boots, all the boots that I love from Danner. Red Wing uses Gore-Tex in all their boots that are Gore-Tex line. They have their own waterproof membranes, and as you guys can tell, as of the last 4 years, everybody's trying to get away from using the Gore brand because it adds another $20 to the retail price. It adds another $11 to $9 to the wholesale price of the product, just to put that Gore-Tex in there. Other brands that are waterproof. So Timberland's waterproof barrier works. The Extremes from Thorogood, it works. You saw that Nix uses Gore-Tex. Man, I'm trying to think of all these other brands. I mean, there's so many out there that use Gore-Tex, and there's so many out there now that are using their own type of waterproof membrane, and that's the main thing you want to look for. When a boot is marked waterproof, you really got to look at to see if it's taped, sealed, and treated. So those Kodiaks I reviewed today, those were taped, sealed, and treated. It's not a membrane waterproof, but it's also not a type of boot that's made for standing in puddles. It's made for light water exposure, and that's okay for most. That is actually a pretty damn good thing. Standing in water, actually, when you have to work a full 15-hour day and it could rain the whole day and you need to depend on those pair of boots, make sure your boots are Gore-Tex if that's a scenario that could ever happen. How many pairs of boots do I have? William's almost right on. I'm not going to say I have a different pair for every single day, but I do have I do have a vast collection of boots. But my actual everyday stable is like 10 pairs of Western boots and maybe another 15 pairs of regular everyday boots. I've actually been really good about not holding on to boots once I've completely worn them out. Where I used to, keep my old boots around. I don't do that anymore. I'm not saying I wear out boots to where they're uncompletely wearable. I wear them out to where I can give them to whether a homeless guy or one of the vets, so they're never like gone into a landfill. Let's see. Yes, William, there is a deconstruction video in the works. I have a pair of 26078s, I believe is a number from Timberland Pro. The reason I'm going to take that boot apart is, one, so we can expose the waterproof membrane I was just talking about. I can cut that away and show it off. And two, so we can see how they put in that aluminum toe. Really want to see how that happens. I think you should call this beer in questions. It's too late for coffee. Can you get some of Chicago's favorite general beers? So just as I walked in the house, somebody asked me if I wanted a beer, and I said no. I'm going to have a cup of coffee because I don't know how long I'm going to be on for. Because I had to ask you guys if you could watch those videos 1,000 times for me so I could get YouTube to answer the question for me on why they're not doing the monetization, because it's the only way they're going to do it. Chicago always gets a shout out from me. Let's see. So my favorite Chicago beer, if we're going to talk about beer right now, is so I live a block away from Old Irving Park Brewery. I wish there was a way I could throw a link out there so you guys could check out their menu. But they always have some great stuff on tap. Great stuff on tap. They had a milk stout the last time I was in. It was like, so I love coffee, and that's part of my whole thing is just, 5, 6, 15 cups of coffee a day. The milk stout tasted just like that. Joe, if you're heading to Chicago next week, Old Irving Park Brewery, dude. Let's see how it works in true safety boots. I mean, steel toe. So, Carlos, are you asking me to do tests of steel toe boots? True safety tests. I don't think we ever really want to test out our safety toe boots. We just want to think that they're going to work, because when we need them, let's hope they perform. Yeah, I seen some guy on YouTube the other day try to swing an axe through a steel toe and he just collapsed it, which makes about sense. I mean, it's 75 pounds of pressure or 75 foot-pounds of pressure that's supposed to, what's hold on a steel toe boot. And Actually, I love seeing that. My favorite steel toe tests out there that I've seen on YouTube and just videos alone in general for all the years are chainsaw tests on steel toe boots. I love those. Yeah, so here, this guy just said that his wife ran over his boots with the car. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to test, as long as your feet aren't in there in case they do fail. Yeah, it's like testing your body armor. You know, great. I mean, I wouldn't want to say, okay, shoot me in my vest, you know, but I know that guys do that. I know that that's something that guys do. I mean, I guess it gets a lot of clicks, but I definitely don't want to slap my, what was the first pair of boots you bought with your own money? Whew! Okay, so that's a really good question, John. My first pair of boots was for a fishing trip in the UP, which is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We were going to Iron Mountain. We were going not walleye fishing, pike fishing. Was it northern fishing, or I forgot what it was. It was either pike or muskie or walleye or something like that, because you're up north, right? So I bought a pair of Carolina waterproof, I don't even remember the numbers, white box, Carolina Redbird on the box, my own money, 1984, 1985. Yeah, sometime around there. I got completely soaked. I fell in the water with them. I dried them out. I had them for like another 2 years, and then it was all Doc Martens and Timberlands, and then I moved into Red Wings. So, oh God, you had them on while she ran over your feet, dude. Oh my God, you're a brave man. You are a brave man. Oh. The best steel toe boot for comfort all day is the one that fits your foot properly, would be my answer. If we were in a retail setting and I was selling you boots, I'd say, let's try a bunch of them on and see which one fits you. Don't worry about who makes or what not, because it's all about the fit. So that's for David, who just asked that question. Now, if you were to go buy something tomorrow and it had to be steel toe, I would ask you why you need to have steel and not comp or aluminum. And I do push people for metal. If you plan, if your plane went down at a snow-capped mountain and rescued without a week, which boots would you want to be wearing? I would want to be wearing, okay, oh my God, something with like 2,000 grams of Thinsulate for sure. Geez. Woods and Streams, I think Woods and Streams makes an extreme ice fishing boot that I would want to have on my feet if I was in a plane crash in the mountain. So, advice on finding a good cobbler. That's a really good question. Where are you is would be my first thing. Like, where do you live, and what do you haven't resold or fixed? I'm thinking about my next flight. Okay, so is the question on how to quiz the cobbler so they don't fuck up your shoes? Because that's what I'm always afraid of, is taking in something that I love, to have somebody put a new sole on and they look at me like, oh yeah, I can do it, and they go and they grab the wrong sole, or they just have no clue. Okay, so you're in Chicago. Dude, watch my video. Go check out Lisa at Montclair Shoe Repair, Harlem and Grand. They've got all the Vibram soles, and their work is awesome. So if you're in Chicago. But that's for work boots. Now, they can do dress shoes. They can get you anything you need from the dress side. But if you're having your work boots resold, definitely there. Okay, Red Wing Heritage boots. Send them back to Red Wing. Don't even worry about going to a cobbler. Just send them right back to the source. Just like in the Matrix, when Neo goes back to the source, man, send your Red Wings back to them. Let them fix them. And the same goes for Danner. If you got Danner boots, don't even... I'm not going to say don't send the cobbler, don't give them your money, but send your Danners back to Danner. Danner and Red Wing, they build those boots, and when they're building and designing those boots, they know how to go together, so they know how to take them apart. They know how they should go back together. So, thanks, Carlos. Oh, man. Okay, guys. So, yeah, back to that original thing that I asked about the videos. I need to get this question answered from YouTube, and hopefully they can do that for me. Yes. The muck boots that Arctic Sport, I believe that, so you're asking me about the muck boots and the Arctic Sport. If I'm not mistaken, the Arctic Sport, are you wearing pants? Yes, I have on Condor tactical pants. That would be pretty fucked up if I wasn't wearing pants. That Arctic Sport, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that has the 2 compound sole so you don't slip on the ice, and the real heavy neoprene. And I think I'm 14 millimeters neoprene, 15 millimeters neoprene. I second the muck question. I'm looking at those. Great Plane Ride, I think. That Arctic Sport. So let's get back to that. So that Arctic Sport, these questions just popped up. Yeah, dude, that's a great boot. That's a lot of that rubber that goes up to the neoprene. I mean, you only get like 4 inches, 6 inches of neoprene, something like that, and you can fold that over. That's a lot of rubber. That boot's going to be warm. That boot's going to keep you dry. If you're thinking about picking up a pair of those mucks, pick them up. It's nice stuff. David, I don't know what boots I would wear in a survival situation in a hot, dry area. I'm a city boy, and unless I'm hunting or fishing, I'm never, I guess, if you're asking me what boots I'd want to have on my feet if I was stranded somewhere, I would definitely want to have waterproof tactical boots on my feet more than any other boot I own for that type of situation. Just flexibility, dependability, the ability to climb and get away from things, and just the ability to climb. As much as I love my logger boots, I don't think that I could climb a rock face with any sort of continuity in my loggers as I could in a pair of tactical boots. How often to clean and treat your boots? I do it every month. Yeah? Well, William, that's a really good to clean your boots as much as possible. I brush my boots every time I put them on, and not every time I take them off though, but every time I put them on, I run the brush over them, especially if it's a pair of Heritage boots. What's the best Red Wing? Oh, I see what you're saying. What's the best Red Wing boot to buy? Jeez. I can actually answer that question. I'm going to go back to 606. It's my favorite Red Wing in the line. As a work boot, as a casual boot, an oxblood red boot with a clear sole, I think it's a good looking boot. Yeah, there's other boots that beat. I mean, Condor's boots are phenomenal, and I've got some stuff that I'm reviewing for Condor now that is pretty outstanding. But I mean, there are some other tactical boots out there. There's not many in Coyote Brown that are really good, but there's a lot of black stuff out there that's really nice. Oh, how many times do I oil my boots a month? Only when they need it. I do that oil test. When you push the leather and you see the color change in your boot, when it doesn't snap right back, then I know it's time to oil them. I hope that helps. How would you treat the Spitfire leather? Frank, you actually just threw me a curve, and it could be answering so many questions. Spitfire leather is not ringing a bell right now. For some reason, it's just not. It's not jumping off. Want to freshen me up on what Spitfire is? So should I treat my boots more than just once? Well, it depends. So I'm moving around here. Hold on. Conservative demonstration videos, yeah. How would you treat your Spitfire leather boots? I really want to know what Spitfire leather is, because why is that not like jumping off at me? Hold on, let me do this. How would you treat Spitfire leather? So, Frank, looks like Spitfire leather is, I'll let this load up and we'll talk about that. Sean, yes, I don't sell my old boots, I sell my samples. So the stuff that I'm not going to wear once I review, I clean them up and I put them on the old eBay for sale. Is wax black suede red? Oh, see? Okay. Thank you. Because this is what I got for Spitfire when I searched it out. Yeah. So you can tell why I was a little taken back once this loaded up. This wasn't what I was thinking. The blacksmith leather. Woo! Man, that's going to be in my Google search. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. So back to the Red Wing suede leather. How would you clean it up? So a suede brush. I don't know I don't have any of my tools around me right now, but there's a suede brush that has a brush on one side and a rubber nap on the other side, and you use that to get the nap back in, and I don't care. My wife can check my history all she wants. You use that to clean your welds and then brush the nap back into your suede, because suede has that nap in there, and that gets flattened out. So once that suede nap gets flattened out, you use the rubber side to restore the nap. So you need that tool in order to clean it. How could I put mink oil on my GIMP mask? Nice. Nice. Oh, wow. Oh. We're going to end the boot. Both are great for my job. Mike, you're welcome. They are both great boots, man. Well, it's wax suede, so you keep rubbing it in there until you get whatever it is you want to get off it. I mean, you don't really add much to boots like this, to suede boots. You don't add anything to them. You just kind of wear them and let them get aged and whatnot. You're never gonna, once you get it dirty, you're never restoring this. You're never getting this back to it, no matter what you try or do. Oh, I should show you guys the other one. Yeah. So here's something else new from Allen Edmonds. A Chugga from them. It's suede. It's a good looking boot, I gotta say. Nice detail back there. I like all that type of detail in that boot. It's super lightweight. It's a blown rubber sole. They call it the extra light sole. It's extra light. Let me put these away because I'm not going to get to these for a while. I'll do the photo shoot, but I won't get to the review on these for a couple weeks. I got a lot of other stuff, a lot of work stuff for winter that needs to be reviewed. So my thoughts on, and what's a eBay username? The boot guy. Yeah, Sean just sent me an email. So what's my viewpoint on the Higgs Boots X1? Okay, so I was in talks with them to send me some boots, and then the president of the company didn't like my review style. So I really have no thoughts on those boots. And it's something I run into a lot with companies, is they're afraid that I'm going to get their boots and I'm going to rip them apart and talk ill will about them. I guess that's what most people do, but I don't think they actually watch any of my videos as I'm in contact with them and understand that I have a genuine passion for it. So. Never worked for my job. Hey, it's just what I got laying around right now. I got all this stuff I gotta. What do you want to see? Some heavy duty work boots? I got some heavy duty work boots. So Dave asked me, what would I say the best oil for your boot is? I like all kinds of stuff. Beeswax, Hush, use it. Yeah, he's got a point there. Beeswax is really good stuff if you're using it in the right environment, especially for open land firefighting. Having your boots completely waxed up like that is a really good idea. Yeah, I understand, but you know, guys, I'm not much into chugga boots either, but it is a very hot fashion style right now, and a lot of guys are wearing them after work. So, plus it's Allen Edmonds, it's Wisconsin. For me to not review a local boot brand would be kind of silly. I mean, they make so much great stuff, and they're great people. They're really nice guys up there. Sean Williams, I like to get connected with a boot company and start a channel. Yeah. Joe, thanks a lot. That really means a lot. But I don't think they want to hire me to do their ads, because every time I get hired to do a photography job for lifestyle, and I show them like real lifestyle that's not contrived like construction, they usually don't go with my stuff. For some reason, they always want, I mean, think about every boot company that's showing you work boots. They put a guy out there in a clean t-shirt, they dirty up his pants, and the boots never look scuffed. And I don't think that's a really good way of showing off work gear or trying to sell guys on the idea, you know? It's like selling fishing rods. Do you ever see like a fishing rod commercial? You know, the guy's always got the rod completely bent, and he's like, oh, reeling in this big fish. And think about all the time you spend fishing and you get skunked. You know, like they should just show the rod casting and talk about, you know, the weight of the lure you can put on the end. Yeah, I agree. Construction workers make up a majority of all of the workers in the world, and still they try to pander to you guys and us as goofs. Okay, I don't like Old Milwaukee beer, but I would not say no if somebody handed me one. Actually, I don't think I would say no to anybody, any beer, when somebody hands me one. No. Cal, there isn't, If you're using beeswax is fine on your work boots. Don't worry about switching. If it's working for you, keep rolling with it. So when you ask, are foreign boots inferior to American boots? That's a really good question. That's probably that's a question that when I answer it, I think I piss more people off than I should. So, wow. Without sounding like an old goof or anything, when we sold our industry off to foreign investors and foreign bakers, we moved we kept a lot of equipment here, but the new people built new machines, and foreign companies have much better equipment when it comes to textiles, soft goods, and shoes and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about sewing machines, and I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about laser cut machines, die cut machines, CNC type machines that cut fabric and cut leather and stuff like that. They got better stuff. Their workers work for less when you really come down to where we are here as a living wage, but their workers work for less and they get more out of them than we were getting out of people here. At least that's the way the story's been told to me. So foreign made stuff sucked ass 20 years ago. I mean, foreign made boots, they couldn't get chemistry right. They couldn't get stitching for footwear right. There's very basic styles that they can make, but now look at stuff that's made overseas. Look at some of the Keen stuff that's made overseas. Look at some of the uppers that they sew together. Look how many pieces. Look how tight the stitches is. Look at how everything is cut perfectly. And then, once you look at that one pair of boots, if we're going to talk boots, once you look at one pair, look at 100 pairs and try to find a defect in 100 pairs of the same style, same number, same everything, and it's hard to find them. Now, when it comes to American-made boots are superior when it comes to consistency of actual quality, since you can control the materials going into it, and just craftsmanship. I understand that when you look at a Timberland Pro from China or Bangladesh, wherever it's made, whichever Wing Chun factory is making them, that they're going to be good because Timberland invests a lot of money. And it's not Timberland. I brought this up the other day on Instagram, that it's a company, Vanity Fair, that owns them. And they're an umbrella to the world when it comes to clothing. So Timberland, it looks good. But when you look at a pair of Danners and you look at two pairs side by side, both size 11s, you can see some difference in quality. You can see some difference in stitching and shape and whatnot. Now, most people look at that difference in shape and say, doesn't look good, it doesn't look perfect. I look at that difference in shape and I say, well, I can see the hand of the artist that built these, because I still consider guys that build boots in this country on that caliber to be artists or craftspeople, whichever word you want to use to describe them. So I like to see some unfinished stitches and stuff like that. So yeah, and I like the fact that, companies still keep it as a union type place where guys can build boots under the union so their jobs are secure. I like all that stuff. So I'm not saying that American boots are superior, better machines, all our chemistry is sent overseas, but we still do some really good stuff here that is phenomenal. Man, did I miss a lot of questions there? I'm sorry, guys. I don't think anything here. Tax regulations, yeah. And experience. It's called, yeah, exactly. It's called, well, handmade. Handmade is a bastardized term today. Just like when you see the word natural on food, it means nothing. Handmade could be as easy as somebody putting in the eyelids. So be careful when you see handmade, handcrafted and stuff like that. You really have to investigate something that says it's handmade. What about European boots? Okay, what about them? Believe it or not a lot of European companies contact me. A lot of these Swedish companies, a lot of the German companies, I've sent emails off to repeatedly for the last 2 years for this project, and I'm not getting through to them. So my only contact with any European boots right now is, I have none. I have Le Chamoux. Am I saying that right? Yeah, Le Chamoux, the waterproof boot company. You know, that's all casual hunting stuff. And Doc Martens. And that's about it for my European experience. And I know there's some great stuff. Trust me, I look at European websites all the time, and I'm always impressed with the clothing. I'm impressed with the footwear. Though it's just like Keen, it's direct attached footwear, I'm still impressed with it. I have no thoughts on Shell Cordovan. I have none whatsoever. I love it. That's about the extent of my thoughts. Yeah, I like everything that's made out of it. Yeah, Haig's a German brand. I own a pair, super comfortable. Well, Gore-Tex makes your feet sweaty. When it comes to Heritage Red Wings, are they more of a leisure boot than a work boot? That's a good question. Heritage boots, they're not a work boot guys, come on, if you look at any of my reviews on Heritage boots, you're going to get the guy who out there who's going to, piss and moan about all day long, I work in my Heritage boots. Okay, that's great for you. When I'm working in a cabinet shop, I don't want to wear Heritage boots on my feet. I want to have something that's soft, comfortable, pliable, that sticks to the floor, so when I'm sending a 4x8 sheet through a table saw, I don't want my foot slipping on sawdust. Heritage boots aren't going to do me any good in that situation. You want slip-resistant boots. So that's where I don't see Heritage boots. I mean, Heritage boots are great after work, do a little light work, doing an install, something like that, but not as work boots. Hey, one question. What if a boot has a steel plate on its sole, puncture resistant? Does it mean it's higher end? Because I was about to buy a boot. Someone I was taking a Keen and it was heavy. Yeah, right. It depends on the work. It really does depend on the work. But back to that question about puncture resistant boots. So puncture resistant boots with a steel plate don't necessarily mean they're higher end. It just means that they're higher rated for what's going to puncture them. It just means it's not going to be a Kevlar pad inside. Oh. So, sorry guys. So, yeah, good point. If you're digging holes, it ain't gonna hold up. Okay, so, see that? Asking about puncture resistant soles, that's a puncture resistant sole right there. That's a Kevlar puncture resistant sole. It's not metal, it's just Kevlar. And that is really, it's not meant so things don't go through. It's meant to deflect objects from coming through. Where off a piece of steel could actually stop something from penetrating. This is just meant to deflect and bulge out on the other end. And that's, having a Kevlar bottom is probably where a lot of boots are going to start going soon, because it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't add a lot of cost to the boots. So John asked me if I could have one pair of boots for the rest of my life, what would those pair of boots be? Well, that's going to be, I mean, it's this, if it's the only thing that I have to depend on, I would definitely do a pair of 8-inch waterproof tactical boots. I would. Am I familiar with Brian the Bootmaker? Is anybody not nowadays? I mean, that guy is outstanding. I love his videos. I watch all of them, and sometimes several times over again and again and again, just mainly for the background in the shop, because I love all the old stuff in that shop. But I mean, he's also great in the videos. He does great work. Oh, that's a good question. Should I bother resoling my 15-year-old Timberland poles? Both sides are completely falling off my first day back to work last week. If your boots are 15 years old, I think it's time to treat yourself to some new boots. I think if you haven't bought boots in 15 years, when you go into your next boot shop and you pick up a pair of boots, you're going to be really surprised, and you're going to be asking yourself why you haven't bought boots in a long time, because there are some amazing boots out there in the last 15 years. In reference to women's boots, why do companies not make many styles for them? Oh man, William, that is also an excellent question. Why do ladies get the short end of the sticks in the work environment? Okay, it's ridiculous, isn't it? You walk into like a TSW shoe warehouse and we get like 5 pairs of boots, and like women get like hundreds of pairs of stupid, ugly, impractical flats and shoes. And the ladies are walking out buying boxes of these shoes that don't do any good. They wouldn't save you in a life-threatening situation. But when it comes to work boots, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 styles. Red Wing has the most. I think Red Wing's got 25 different styles right now for women. And it is, it's just how things are. It's just how it is. Timberland, Keen, Cat, Red Wing. I think Danner's got a work boot. Thorogood's got work boots, but they're limited. It's small pickings. I mean, the workforce has been majority men for a long time. So ladies in the last 25 years have entered the construction force now as actual working force, working electricians, working carpenters, working set builders, cabinet makers, all that stuff. So it's only a matter of time before they get off their butts and they start building boots for ladies. And the first company that really takes hold and pushes for the ladies, and I don't mean like Red Wing Heritage building pretty lady boots, but good quality, comfortable work boots for women that have to spend 15 hours on their feet. That company that does that is going to do exceptionally well, because that is a very small, narrow market, and they're going to excel in it. I bought my 7-year-old from Target to the waste of money. Isn't that the horrible thing about kids, dude? Is like you think you're gonna get them something really nice, and they just go back to the whatever they like. It's just how kids are, brother. So I'm doing a construction work one day, and I'm a construction job the next day, and I'm working at customer's house tonight. What's a good all-around boot? That's store's nice. That's a pretty good question. What's a good all-around boot for somebody that's in and out of people's houses and then digging holes in the backyard? I don't think there's one pair of boots. I think you should have 2 pairs of boots for that. I think you should have dirty mud boots for when you're doing dirty work, and then when you got to go in somebody's house, that you actually have a nice pair of clean, non-marking, soled, comfortable boots, which is where a 6-inch wedge sole mock toe boot is good for that. And what's a good store that stocks boots? Couldn't tell you that because I don't know where you live. And if you're not in Chicago, I really can't point you to any stores, or in Wisconsin. Wow, moved from Southern California to New York. Dude, that is a... Wow. That's a cultural change. I mean, Southern California to New York City. New York City, I would imagine, New York proper. So, yeah. My sister hates Red Wings and she's a welder. I can understand why your sister hates Red Wings when she's a welder, because the Red Wings that they make for welders for women are all plastic and plastic. They just probably melt right off her feet. Name some brands of boots you think suck. Boy, what boots do I think suck? Brahma, Texas Steer, anything you can pick up at a bodega, anything that's supposed to look like something else. There's a lot of horrible brands out there, but there's a lot of good stuff that's intermixed with unknown brands that look like crap until you get your hands on them, and then you're completely surprised. So let's just say anything that retails for under 50 bucks is going to be crap. When retails for under 50 bucks. I'm not saying on sale or clearance for 50 bucks, but retails for 50 bucks. So if it was to go on clearance, it'd be $19.99. Anything like that from footwear is going to suck. Sleeper boots? Yeah, dude, cheap boots just, back to the name of the boots that suck. Cheap boots, a lot of guys bring up a lot of good points about cheap boots. If it's, if you've been out of work for a while and you got to go back to work and they say you got to have a pair of steel-toe boots tomorrow to start the job and you haven't been working and not a lot of money coming in and you don't have a pair of steel-toe boots, buying a pair of cheap boots makes a lot of sense. Do you have any sneakers? Yes, I have 2 pairs of sneakers. I did a review on both of the sneakers that I own, the 511 sneakers and the Scarpa sneakers, the Mojitos. I don't own any Nikes. I don't own any running shoes. As much as I play basketball, I actually just play in regular. Most of the time I'm on pickup games, so whatever I have on my feet, just to shoot around. Thanks for stumbling across my channel, and hopefully you subscribe. I love that one wheel. I ride it around my production space here all the time, and I ride around the house and the backyard, and I go over, hang out with my buddies with it. I get some really silly looks from people, I tell you that, riding that one wheel around. 6'4", 230 pounds, this thing hanging off my face, it doesn't really fit, but man, it's a lot of fun. Any pros or cons about putting that rubber toe on a pair of boots? Not sure the actual name. So, the boot bumper. So if it's the actual rubber toe that comes in the blister pack that you open up, pros and cons about it. It's eventually going to fall off no matter what you do. Contact cement on rubber, beautiful. Always a good thing. Contact cement on leather that has oils impregnated into it, all right, for a while it's going to work, and you could sand that leather all you want, but eventually heat and salt are going to move up to the surface of that and it's just going to peel away. So if you're going to put boot bumpers on, then be ready to re-glue them down, within a week or 2 or a month, depending on how they stay on. Now, I've seen guys on steel toes leave them on forever. Could it be stitched? I don't think you could get a machine that far into the toe of the boot without taking the boot apart. You might find somebody who's willing to do it by hand and push that needle through on one side and push it through the other side, but you're going to have to pay that person a lot of money to be doing that. So you just got a pair of Red Wing Heritage boots and you're wondering when to condition the leather? Brandon, well, do you think it needs it? Or are they just getting good? Are they starting to look good? If they're just starting to look good, wait till something happens to your boots that, one, they're either dry and they look like they're going to crack, or you're just not happy with the way they look anymore, and then go for it. No, I don't wear dress shoes to formal events. I actually just wear black boots, black lineman's boots to formal events that I really, really put a high polish shine on so nobody gives me crap or gives my wife crap. I try to get by wearing the most casual thing I can to formal events so I can wear brown boots. If the leather's still fresh, don't touch them, Brandon. Like you said, just let it go, man. Only condition your boots when you need to. Yeah. If we're talking Spitfire Red Wing 2955, I looked that up, Frank, and I also looked up Spitfire. If you missed that like 45 minutes ago, when somebody asked me about it, it was you had asked me about Spitfire, and I got leather porn. Mike, you're absolutely right about the rubber toes. Get them, if they're already on, buy boots with it on there. You know, installing that stuff yourself, I mean, it can be done. I mean, you could do the same thing with a really good caulk and just caulk around the edges. Tough toe, that stuff was phenomenal because that's made for catchers, softball, baseball catchers. That stuff was really, really good. Do you think getting a year out of a pair of Red Wings is too little or normal amount of time? I don't think that there's an expiration date on footwear, especially on work boots. I think that everybody's going to use work boots in their own way, and they're going to... See, I see guys that get a lot of wear out of one pair of boots. You know, 18 months, 24 months, and it blows my mind. And then I see guys that get 6 months. Like every iron worker I know, 3 to 6 months out of a pair of boots. And they're okay with that, so. So as everybody see the question from JC? Now, is that for... Guys, what should I do about the answer to the JC question? I mean, I've actually got some answers to that question on how you should handle that. Does anybody want to know my opinion on that? Work boots, I don't... Yes, JC wants to know. Answer it. Should you avoid boots that can't be resold? No, don't avoid boots that can't be resold because it depends on the job of where you're buying the boots. You might buy a pair of boots that can't be resold and they turn out to be awesome. Okay, so JC asks me about... should he inject his cheating girlfriend with AIDS or get my cousin who has AIDS to have sex with her? Well, if your girlfriend's cheating on you, it sounds like you're not doing something that she needs. So if you need to be malicious and get back at her, I don't think giving her a life-ending viral disease like that is the best idea. If your girlfriend's cheating on her, maybe get back at her in a different way. Like, I don't know. Maybe take the windshield wipers off her car, you know. I mean, that's an easy way enough. It's just cheating. It's just sex, dude. Come on. What do I look like, Dr. Ruth to you? Uh, my Higgins Mills by Alan Edmonds, doing great. See, Brandon said it. Shit on her chest. Yeah, exactly. Get back to the topic. So my Higgins Mills are doing great. I don't wear them much. They kind of sit in the corner. They're in their bags. They're buffed. You could call that a formal dress boot in my world. And I don't know. Lately, that's just not my thing. I don't know. It seems that black boots have lost favor with me. I like natural brown stuff more. I used to only wear black boots exclusively, and now I'm really into the brown leathers because I guess over the last 10 years, I've learned so much more about leather production, and I just like the way brown leather looks. There's a good question. Best flannel work shirts, and go. So we're talking work shirts here. We're not talking best hand of flannel. We're not talking most comfortable flannel out there. We're talking a work shirt. So you've got, do they still make Five Brothers? But Five Brothers were great. There was a logging company that made work shirts. Carhartt work shirts are great. I mean, I love Carhartt stuff, obviously, right? I mean, I got a Carhartt shirt and a Carhartt hat on. I love their stuff. LL Bean, great flannel shirts. They really are. I mean, are they going to be great work shirts for you? They're probably not going to be the hand of a work shirt that you're accustomed to, but it's a great shirt. Best work shirt in the world is a Pendleton for a flannel shirt. I mean, there's nothing softer. There is nothing nicer. Craftsmanship, stitching, everything. I mean, that's a generational shirt. You buy one of those, you can hand that down to your kids. But yeah, that's about it. Those Dickies flannel shirts, crap. And that's about it. I would go for best LL Bean or Carhartt. See? Brian understands how important the Pendleton is. It's nice stuff, is it not? It is something else. It's not cheap. Oh my God, it's not cheap. What's a Pendleton shirt cost nowadays? 115, 130 bucks? It's expensive stuff. JC didn't say thank you for me answering his question. I feel so hurt. Guys, 1 minute, 30 seconds. I gotta get a refill. Do you watch other boot reviews? If so, if you do, critique them in any way. So William's asking me if I watch any other boot reviewers. Yes, I watch all the other guys that review boots. Do I have any critiques on them? No. Wow, it's like a cat got hair in there. I have no critiques on any of the other guys' ways of looking at boots, outside of the fact that a lot of people are quick to judge a product on being crappy because they've had one bad experience with it, and so they want to dismiss the product, the brand, and everything because they had a bad experience with it. And I don't think that's really fair, and I don't think that's, I mean, I'm sure nobody here makes a judgment call off somebody who's experienced one bad thing in life, right? I mean, just that. So yeah, I watched the other guys, and you know, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're just, it's you know, I don't like reviews that are stuff sitting on the table and somebody talking to you and just showing you the stuff. I think you guys can realize that, you know. You want the reviewer to be in front of the camera. You want to see their eyes. You want to see what they're talking about. You just don't want to hear their voice. So, So work boots in the Baltimore area, you should have a couple sporting goods stores that are going to carry Timberland and some other brands like maybe Irish Setter. You'll have a lot of the outdoor stores that'll sell Irish Setters, and that's to answer that question. Allen Edmonds. I don't think he wants Allen Edmonds for work. Yeah, they are American made, but they're not going to be work boots. You know why there's not a Wolverine store, don't you? Well, because Wolverine was basically hush puppies before they became work boots, and I'm sure that they've toyed with the idea when they had the DuraShock of doing a Wolverine satellite store or whatnot, but they're pretty good with their retailers. You know, the reason why a lot of brands don't have their own stores or didn't have their own stores, all that's changing now. Every brand out there is going to have some sort of satellite store in the next few years to come. They have to. It's just the way that the internet's going to work. So, you know, it's going to happen. And I would imagine that Wolverine, and I know Danner already has 3 shops in Oregon. So I'd imagine that somewhere Wolverine's got one. They got to have a factory store up there in Michigan. I can't even think of where they're from now. Huh. I know it's Michigan, but I'm the town. Well, it says I got a healthy stream. A cup of coffee. Yeah. I didn't know I was going to be on for an hour and a half because I actually just came on to ask you guys to watch my last 2 videos. If anybody missed that. That was the reason why I started this, but you guys started asking questions and I love answering the questions. I think I should do this more often. Nice. I get that. When we're talking about Wolverine 1,000-mile boots, I get that. Like they should have a place like where you can try that stuff on, not just like Nordstrom's and other high-end shops. If they had their own shop, and like I said, as retail dies out, you're going to get a lot more of these brands doing their own shops in cities. And it makes sense, you know. Really does. What's next for the channel? Yes, more often. Much appreciated. What's next for the channel? Oh, geez. I got all these plans. I really like doing the road trip stuff. I like going out for the afternoon and just kind of showing off all the places around the city that I think are great. That's one thing that I got planned, and there's more of this stuff, more of this live streaming for the channel. I'm definitely going to do more of this. So Brian K, is there any way to waterproof them? So Brian's asking me here, is there any way to waterproof a pair of dress boots? I guess that's a better way of saying it. Yes, there are tons of ways of waterproofing dress boots. All the oils, all the conditioners, all that stuff. But the main thing is to avoid as much water as you can in those boots, because you never know what's going to be in the water, and you don't want to, especially if it's cold out, you don't want any salt to get on that leather, because that's going to be a pain in the butt to restore. So rub any sort of leather product on there. I'm trying to think of what that that stuff that I use that I keep in the can. Oh. If you watch my video, my my reconstruction video, the second product that I use, and I can't, the URAD stuff, I don't remember what it was called. It was called the cream or whatnot. That is a great product for that type of boot, for that Allen Edmonds. What socks do you prefer for work? Okay, so socks. This is another thing I'm going to start doing on my channel more. I'm going to do more sock reviews because it's kind of the next step in boots. You got to have good socks inside your boots. So we're going to start out with Smartwools, and then we're going to move around to some other stuff. No, I didn't drive to Nick's because that would take me a week. The guys at Nick's and I were in really tight communication about sizing on the boots. When I say tight communication, I think I exchanged roughly about 35 emails back and forth with them and 3 phone calls in order to get them right. So, do you have plans to grow out your mustache? To grow your mustache out, it's kind of disrespecting your nice beard. Wait, you mean grow my mustache longer than that? Huh. That's a good question. Any experience with waterproof socks? Yes, I actually own a pair of neoprene waterproof socks. I've only used them in my waders. When I thought that my waders were leaking, I wore the waterproof socks. As it turns out, when you're wading in extremely cold water, for some reason your body decides that it's going to make your feet hot and sweaty in your wading boots. So yes, I have had experience. I've heard customer service from Nick's is less than acceptable. Was that? No. Frank, the guys at Nick's were awesome. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the fact that I don't know. I don't approach a new conversation with any sort of pretension or ideas that I'm blah blah blah. But yeah, I like the guys at Nick's. I like the product. No matter what people say about the company switching hands, oh, the boots aren't as good as they used to be, and whining and shit like that. Those boots are badass, dude. The construction, the materials, the attention to detail, it's spot on. And customer service was good. Like I said, though, maybe it was me. Maybe it's because they knew that, I was going to have 10,000 of you guys looking at a video that I talked about their boots. And I understand that other people have done reviews of their boots. They've got a lot more reviews on them. But maybe because of the narrow market that I exist in, they were a little bit nicer to me. I don't think so. I think that they're just nice guys all the way around. No, keep your mustache short so it doesn't get in the way when you're eating and drinking. Well, that's really good advice because it gets in the way of everything I do, but I do love it. Josh, how are you, buddy? Let's see. He just asked, what should I use to condition my Iron Rangers? Cheap. I don't want to order the Red Wing brand. Well, Red Wing brand ain't really that much for leather conditioner. In the long run, a little bit goes a long way. Thoughts on Garmont boots? That's interesting. You might have just brought up a brand of boots that I have never heard of. Sorry for the delay here. I'm looking at the Jet Memphis 91. Holy smokes, those are badass. Those are like real hiking boots. There's what he's asking me about, guys. So that's one of the shoes. And that's one of the boots. Yeah, that's like real hiking stuff. I'm not going to say I'm going to back away from it, but I would never personally ever need a boot that's that extreme. I ain't going anywhere where I need a real hiking boot like that, but I bet you they're badass. They look like they're badass. Yeah, that's a level of outdoorsmanship that I just don't, that's not my world. So personally, I have no use for them. All boot oil will darken your boot. That's just part of the thing. That's just part of putting oil back into a natural. It's going to darken it up. Now, does it stay dark? It's going to change it. It's going to leave it a few shades, a shade or two darker. I mean, but you would have to pull out some sort of Pantone color chart in order for that to happen. And, you know, if it changes it, just look at it less, and eventually it'll be the way you want it to look. Back to the leather conditioner. I don't think I fully finished answering that question. The leather conditioner, like I said, the Red Wing ain't that much money, and there's other stuff on the market, but at least you know if you got Red Wings using their product that if at some point it should start, you get a defect or something and they ask you what you put on it, don't give them any wiggle room to say, well, you put this on there so we can't honor any sort of problem. So no. No, but if there's a boot out there that smells like smoked meat, I mean, geez, that's dangerous. Oh, man. Yeah, it does darken the leather. Just so, I don't know, did you guys see that last comment about, you know, the boots he bought back in the 70s? Clear, dark, amber sole, shoe grease that smelled like smoked leather. Smoked meat, sorry. Oh man, could you imagine if your boots smelled like smoked meat? I mean, the dogs in the neighborhood would go crazy. There you go, Tenderly by You Red, that's the stuff. I agree, they look better once they get darker. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night. 1 hour and 44 minutes. Want to get in your last questions, and we will do 15 more minutes. I can get boots and jerky at the same place. If you have flat feet and inflammation on your ankles and you work 12 hours, there's not a best boot. You need to go to the podiatrist and have insoles made. And then you need to find a boot that holds that insole correctly with a hard footboard. As if you watch a lot of my reviews, that was the lightning. It's like a huge thunderstorm here. If you watch a lot of my reviews, when I pull the insole out, and I always point out the hard footboard. All those boots that have the hard footboard, they work really good with orthotics. So, Seahawks, I hope that helps. You definitely got to go to a podiatrist. Will bacon grease darken my boots? If it doesn't darken your boots, they're definitely going to be tasty. That is for sure. I really wonder what bacon grease would do. That would make a great video. Today in the Boot Guy, we're going to clean these boots with bacon grease. Do you know all of the hate I would get for that? Oh my God. Red Wing in Evergreen Park. I've never been out to the Red Wing in Evergreen Park, and I also have never been out to the the Red Wing store in Arlington Heights that I hear so much about. Yeah, I mean that's really good advice to bring your insoles. Cow and pig together with a bacon cheeseburger. There should almost be somebody who makes a boot out of pig leather and cow leather, and they call it the bacon cheeseburger. It would be the irony of that, huh? Okay, gents, thank you so much. I will revisit this whole format in a week or so. We'll try this again. I'm not going to say we're going to do it on a Saturday night, but remember, the reason why I did this is YouTube, on my last two videos that I posted, the road trip video and the Kodiak video, that they wouldn't allow me to monetize it because they said the content was inappropriate. But so the thing is I applied for them to talk to me about it, but they won't talk to me about why it was inappropriate or walk me through what was inappropriate until I get 1,000 views on that video. It's either 1,000 views in 7 days or it's 1,000 views over the course of the video. So if I could get you guys to share those videos on Facebook and everywhere you can, just those 2 videos, and just see if I can't get 1,000 views in the next 2 days so I can work this out with YouTube before I move on to the next reviews, that would be great. If you could help me out with that, guys. So thanks a lot for everybody for watching, for joining in. There was more of you guys here than I ever thought I was going to get, and I loved it. So thanks a lot, guys. And until the next time, to my next review, thank you.